Hello, folks. What's up? We are back, and this time we are back with Sama. I'm not sure how to say her second name, and hopefully she will tell us when she begins. But Sama is a Palestinian mother of three, an activist, an educator, and a community leader whose work bridges education, advocacy, and philanthropy. She's the co-founder of Parents for Palestine, which is a diverse interfaith community of parents united to promote understanding of Palestinian culture and heritage through thoughtful, inclusive dialogue. Sama helps others engage deeply with complex ideas, creating pathways to greater understanding, and her commitment to education extends to the Heart of Raib organization, which she founded to offer full post-secondary scholarships to Palestinian refugee students in Jordan. Sama, thank you so much for joining us, and I'd love to begin by asking, how do we say your second name and how did this group come together?
My last name is Ghnaim.
Ghnaim.
So Sama Ghnaim. I am delighted to be here. Thank you so much for giving us space and a place for our voices to be heard. I'm very excited about it.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you. So the first question that we have is, how did this group come together?
That's a funny story, given that today is our anniversary for basically what kickstarted Parents for Palestine, which was a WhatsApp group called Mamas for Gaza. And it was an attempt by mothers who wanted to find a safe, inclusive space for their children to be at, to actually show up in rallies and have a presence and have a way for us to communicate the atrocities that are happening with our children in a way that they can understand it. And this WhatsApp group turned into Parents for Palestine because there was so much interest in creating a safe and family-friendly space where you could engage with such a complex issue at the level of families, where families felt welcome at rallies and they felt like they had a space where they could show up. And because, rallies, we would spend hours standing in the rain, for example. And so it was about creating a space where they could have, for example, Parents for Palestine would provide a kids tent where we would have activities for the kids while the speeches were going on before we started marching. And that was actually how Parents for Palestine started. We thought, we started as a group of mamas, and then we thought there is an interest in something bigger. And so Parents for Palestine was born. We co-founded it and thought about our vision and our mission and what we really wanted to accomplish. And it's been such a, it's such a, I don't know how to, with so much tragedy and so much death, there has been so many new forged community relationships and connections as a result of Parents for Palestine. I've met many chosen families, I want to call them, through this initiative in the last year, and continue to meet new people and continue to engage new community members, because we all need a space to, part of it is to grieve, part of it is to connect, part of it is to come together as families with people who feel the same way as you do and have the same goals as you do. And it's a beautiful thing because it's just everybody. We say that we are a multi-faith group from all different cultures, all different backgrounds, and we truly are. And I think that's the most beautiful piece of Parents for Palestine that we've been able to accomplish.
I think it's awesome. Thank you so much for doing this and for sharing sort of, how you guys all came together. Can you give us a sense of how you operate as a group in a way that, there are so many different activities and things that are going on. There's not just protests, but so many other things that are going on that people are connecting with. Can you give us a sense of how you facilitate or operate in a way here? And also if you found any ripple effects, if you've seen this kind of Parents for Palestine in other places like Toronto or maybe in the States or something. But first, give us a sense of actually how you're operating.
So we have what we call an anchor group, And it's exactly what it sounds like. We have anchors that basically hold projects. So let me first tell you what our strategic goals are. And because from there, everything kind of is born from the strategic goals.
Right.
So we have 4 strategic goals. One is political and direct actions responding to the genocide. The second is family-centered events. The third is fundraising. And the fourth is educational advocacy. So within these, I want to call them strategic bubbles, you have what we call anchors. And the anchors basically is what you understand it to be. It anchors a project. So one of our big goals is to create a space to bring new people in so that we can expand this community, so that it's a way in. For you, if you want to help in any way, shape, or form, we have something for you to do, and we have a way for you to engage with what is happening. And so the anchors help set and organize and recruit volunteers, and they hold every project. So each anchor holds a project, and I'll give you an example of our project. So, for example, for our fundraising project, we have run 2 silent auctions so far. We raised $15,000 in the first one, $22,000 in the second one. And a silent auction, which was online, that would have an anchor, and then we had a group of volunteers that actually helped gather, create forms, gather the data, bring everything in. Another example is we have family-centered activities, like we ran a Birds for Gaza workshop, and we run a story time for Palestine. Again, an anchor would hold this project and then would coordinate with volunteers and would come and kind of, we keep each other in the loop at all times. We have bi-weekly to weekly meetings between the anchor groups, and then we have meetings between the anchor groups and the volunteers. So it's a very structured, but at the same time, a fluid and engaging and open relationship. What we really want is we want to be an avenue for people to engage. So the goal for Parents for Palestine is not to keep this tight lid on it and have a little group that kind of controls everything. It's actually the opposite. It's about expanding and growing. And the more we engage with new people, the more we engage our community, the more we can do. And that's ultimately our goal. Our goal is to fight this genocide. Our goal is to raise funds to help people impacted by this genocide. In Palestine, here in Jordan, as you can see, we're kind of varied where we help. So that's basically an overview of how our structure is. And it kind of also tells you where we want to go in the future. Like, this is the path we're taking down. The path is, yes, we may have co-founded Parents for Palestine, but the idea is to kind of just open it up as much as possible so that everybody feels like this is their gateway into being part of this movement in each way that every person finds comfortable. And I think that's a really important thing. It's about allowing people and the community and parents and non-parents a space to engage in the way that they feel comfortable engaging. So we don't say, this is how you need to do, this is what you need to do to help. What can you offer to help? And then we can actually take that, and then we can help you fulfill your vision.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah. I
that's
see.
how we operate.
I really like that. I really like the way that you've gone about doing that, because a lot of people do want to do things, and you will then help provide supportive ways of going about doing it. If people feel that they want to do something and they can, and it's really organic as how you're explaining it. How do folks get more information? Where do they find you guys? What's the easiest way? On social media or somewhere?
We are on Instagram at Parents for Palestine YVR, and we also have a community WhatsApp group called Parents for Palestine that they can request to join. But all of the information you need, all the links to our current fundraiser, for example, right now we've got besides the silent auction that we also have coming up for Lebanon and Palestine, we also have what we call ongoing community events. And they are, I'll give you an example. We do paint night for Palestine, and it's basically coming together as a community. It's a fundraised, ticketed event. We have one coming up in November 19th, and you come together and you learn how to paint from local artists who, again, this was their way of giving back and being part of this movement. And it's a beautiful, engaging opportunity for community to come together to express how you feel through art and to learn about Palestine and the culture and the background. And again, to learn from others in the community, to meet everybody in the community. I think one thing I really want to talk about in terms of Parents for Palestine, and I'm going to speak from my perspective about this. When I went to the first Mamas for Gaza art build, where we created signs for the first rally with my children, and I walked in and I saw the diversity that was in that room. I actually just got goosebumps just thinking about this. I remember getting so emotional because I'm not used to this. You know, as a Palestinian, given what has been happening for the last 6 years, let alone October 7th, you feel a little bit isolated, and you don't feel, supported. And walking into that space and looking around and seeing the diversity, going to the rallies and looking around of all different walks of life, standing there by your side, supporting your cause, it just makes you feel validated and it makes you feel hopeful. And I think that's a very, very difficult thing to hold on to, given everything we've experienced in the last year. So it's about resilience and it's about stamina. And I believe community allows you to have both. This community we've created with Parents for Palestine has been my solace. It's been my hope in this ending and us at one point returning to our rightful land. But in this ending, given all of the darkness that we've witnessed in the last year.
Sama, you shared with us some of the inspirations that you had when this was happening. Talk to us a little bit more about, maybe you can, if you'd like to, you can talk to us a little bit about some of the challenges that you also had in bringing this together, that you all had as a collective, and also some of the pleasantries, some of the nice surprises, or some of the ways that you were nicely able to navigate those challenges. I guess I'm asking for some of your own personal highlights, maybe what you've learned yourself through this process, and also the Parents for Palestine as a group. Maybe you can share?
Absolutely. I will start with the positives. What I've learned is that we have a wonderful community around us. And I am talking about families, I'm talking about businesses, I'm talking about the community as a whole. When we ran our first fundraiser, we were not sure how it would be received. We weren't sure if we were going to get businesses to engage. And the amount of businesses that participated in the first silent auction blew my mind. So that was a lot of positive surprises. And I'm talking about, let me also include not just businesses, spaces that offered us, you need a space to run your paint night, you need a space to run your baking workshop, here is a space. So the wonderful, surprising, great thing that I've experienced personally, as well as a collective as part of Parents for Palestine, is our wonderful community. Obviously, in every community, you also have drawbacks. So in some of our organized story times, for example, safety was a concern in terms of being really mindful about the security of our team and the security of the participants, because there was a lot of pushback from a lot of Zionists in the, because we were trying to hold it, for example, in the community centers. And so that was a real scare for all of us as parents in the Parents for Palestine. But I'll tell you the really positive output of that. We scrambled in an afternoon. We found out that our space had been canceled because of a lot of complaints against running a story time for Palestine, which apparently was very controversial to many. And we managed to relocate, communicate with all attendees, and we ended up having over 100 people show up at our first story time for Parents for Palestine. And we managed to do that within the span between, I think it was 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And so that's something that I hold very dear, and I'm very proud of that. So these are the drawbacks. The drawbacks is always being worried about security. The drawbacks is we really want to engage in political action. And as parents, we also want to make sure that we are safe.
Got
And
it.
so, right? So it's a real, it's not easy. It's not easy. And so safety has been a concern, but overall positive outcomes. The reactions from our community, the engagement, like I told you at the beginning, I can't say this enough. The diversity of our group of people. You ask for volunteers, they flood. And it's just heartwarming to see all of the support and to run those paint nights. They were an idea that I had that turned into this beautiful recurring community fundraiser. And every time, and I say this every time I run a paint night, at the end I say, this is my favorite one. Until I run the next one, and I'm like, this is really my favorite one. And when we have events with children involved, I know I'm a little biased because I am a mom, but I can tell you when children are involved, it's magic. Because they're so innocent and raw and honest. And when they engage with Palestine, it's just so beautiful to watch. I've watched my children grow in how they interpret what's happening, how they understand what's happening, talk about, for example, boycotts. They understand it. And then when we talk about things like our educational advocacy, working on the NoCap curriculum, and actually thinking that at one point, Parents for Palestine would be able to impact and be a part of this movement to include NoCap in the curriculum is it's life-changing for our children that go to school.
Perfect.
So I can't say enough good things.
Yeah, and that's amazing to hear, right? Because this kind of support, this kind of community sounds like an incredible place for other people also to be a part of. So the last question that we have before we say bye is, could you tell us about some upcoming activities and where people can join us?
Absolutely. So we have our kids market that's coming up on November 16th, where all of the proceeds, we will be selling gently used kids everything. Talk about clothes, toys, and all the funds will be going to Palestine and Lebanon. And we also have our upcoming paint nights on November 19th. We have a Galabit page where you can actually check it out on our Instagram at Parents for Palestine YVR, and it links to all of our current community events. And we also have our silent auction coming up as well. That will kick off right after our kids market, if not a day before. And that will also have a whole bunch of local businesses participating, as well as, again, skilled individuals that are offering their services. So those are our events. You can find out everything you need to know about us if you follow us on Instagram at Parents for Palestine. And please follow us. Please come to our events. We love meeting new people. We love engaging with our community. And we know that, please know that we are always open. Our goal is to bring in as many new people as possible into this movement. And we actually have a goal this year to raise $100,000 by the next calendar year. And I'm hoping we will hit that. So.
Well, best of luck with that. Best of luck. And I am certain you will, given how you've expressed the community and the goals that surround it. Sama, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. We're going to have you back someday soon. And maybe you can tell us about how you've gone through another phase of growth within Parents of Palestine. Thank you so much for your time and look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me. And I look forward to our next meeting.
We're just going to switch on to some music now and we'll be back shortly.